All right, we are still in Unit 1, Geographic Principles, getting our foundation of geographic knowledge. Our next essential question, we are on essential question number 4. So what we're trying to figure out today is how can humans influence their environment and how are they also influenced by their environment? So you're looking for two things here: how humans influence the environment and how the environment influences humans. And we're going to look at two theories that help us determine that. So cultural ecology is the study of human environment interactions. And that study has produced two theories. Okay. The theory, let me get my pointer here. The theory of environmental determinism. Oops. Here we go. The theory of environmental determinism and the theory of possibilism. And we're going to look at both of those things and what they mean, but they are both theories for the study of human environment interactions. Okay? So the first one we're going to look at is environmental determinism. Now, environmental determinism was pretty old. It was developed in the 18th century, which is like the 1700s. But it says that climate and landforms are the most powerful forces shaping human behavior and societal or cultural development. So this theory says that the environment determines everything about your culture. So your culture consists of your religion, what you eat, the music you listen to, your way of life, all right? Your culture is your way of life. And this theory says that the environment was the biggest factor in determining your way of life. The adverse theory to that, I'm moving on a little too fast. So environmental determinism says that the environment is the biggest factor in determining how you live. This is just a map showing some different dry lands that are vulnerable to desertification. So it can be said that there are not going to be a lot of people living here, and so that supports the theory of environmental determinism, in that the way the environment is determines the way of the life of the people, and no people are going to want to live in a desert. Now, we already know from the last topic that climate and weather and access to water determine where people live. We talked about how climate, weather, and access to water determine what foods can grow. And we know that location, depending on where people are, also determines economic factors. So are they a coastal city who have access to ports or fishing, or are they in the Midwest and they have access to these fields where they can grow wheat, and then they export that. So those are all ways that the climate, the environment impacts people. Now, the next theory we're going to look at is called possibilism. And it's a newer theory than environmental determinism. But possibilism acknowledges the limitations imposed by the natural environment, but focuses on the role of human culture to modify and respond to the environment to better fit human needs. So what that means is, this theory says that the environment limits cultural factors. So the environment does kind of limit your way of life. It does limit a few things you can do. However, people, right, so cultural factors modify the environment in order to fit their needs. So it says, hey, we understand the environment's a big deal and that it does determine a lot of what we can and can't do. However, as people, we can modify the environment to best fit our needs. And some examples of that are this man-made island. This is a man-made island in Dubai. It is not natural. It was human created. I actually watched a documentary on this. This is fairly new. It happened in my lifetime, but these people just wanted to build an island, so they did. This is another example. This is the Hoover Dam. And the Hoover Dam supplies water and energy to Las Vegas, Nevada, a huge city. But not a lot of people realize that it's in the middle of a desert. And so this dam was built to supply water and energy to Las Vegas. That's another example of how the environment was limiting the way people could live, but then people modify the environment in order to meet their own needs. So humans altering the environment for their own needs, though, has caused some not so good things. And we kind of talked about that a little bit on Wednesday. So humans altering the environment for their own needs has caused pollution, deforestation, climate change, soil erosion, poor air quality, undrinkable water. So many, there's even more than that, and you could look up even more on how humans altering the environment has caused some pretty terrible things. But those are the two theories: environmental determinism and environmental possibilism, or you can just call it possibilism. So now you need to answer that essential question. You need to summarize your notes at the bottom. How can humans influence their environment, and how are they also influenced by their environment? Answer that question at the bottom. If you cannot answer it without looking at your notes, you should probably rewatch this video to make sure that you understand what you're supposed to understand.